Picking courses is an important part of a student's high school experience. A rigorous course schedule should be the goal of all students, though it's imperative that the workload that comes along with a rigorous schedule is manageable. The courses that are selected this spring will be the courses that appear in student schedules next fall. Adjusting courses after this spring and after the course registration process is over is not easy and is not guaranteed. After all students select courses, school counselors will meet individually with each student to review their selections and finalize their course requests. After this, requests for schedule changes will be made on a case-by-case basis. In order to begin requesting classes for next school year, please log into your parent portal account. From there, you're going to click on Class Registration. Class Registration will bring you to a screen that looks just like mine. For 10th grade, we're going to start with English. English is pretty straightforward. We're picking between English 2 and Honors English 2. The big difference between the classes is the amount of work students complete outside of class. So in an Honors English class, they'll be expected to read more outside of school and come to class prepared to engage in classroom discussions. In English 2, more of the reading and the coursework happens within the classroom. So Honors English 2 can move at a little bit of a faster pace and cover a little more content because students are doing more work outside of class. Math is a little more challenging. 10th graders are all in a different place with their math track. If your student or you took year-long Algebra 1 or Algebra 1 with lab in 9th grade, your next class would be Geometry. So if you took Algebra 1 in 9th grade, then your next class is Geometry. If you took Honors Geometry in 9th grade, then your next class is Honors Algebra 2. If you took Honors Algebra 2 in 9th grade, then you're moving on to Honors Pre-Calculus. Remember, students can double up in math because we function on a block schedule. So, if you took year-long Algebra 1 in 9th grade and you want to double up in 10th grade, then you would pick Geometry and Algebra 2. Or, if you really felt like you could handle much harder math that moves much faster with much more work, then you could pick Honors Geometry and Honors Algebra 2. When a student is in the Honors Math or not in the Honors Math, they can switch back and forth, so they're not stuck. If they took a regular class last year and it was too easy, we need to encourage them to move to the Honors level this coming year. Vice versa, if it was too hard, let's scale back. So make sure that you're picking the correct math for where you are in the math track and the math program that we have. But do remember, you can double up if you enjoy math. If it's something that you like, then we definitely encourage you to double up so you can get to the higher level math. Another thing to think about, though, is if you struggle in math, taking big breaks, meaning you only take math once a year and then you take 6 months off from math, that can be really hard. If you're already struggling in a subject, taking big long breaks from it isn't always the best option. So we have some other ways you can split up your math by taking Algebra 2 in 2 parts. So that gives it to you over an entire year, but in 2 different semesters. So please make sure to review all of our math options and pick the best one for you. You should also note that the program of study, which is located on our county website under the Parents tab, is a great resource for picking courses. The program of study lists all the courses and all the programs that we offer here in Queen Anne's County Public Schools. I encourage you to open that document, save it, and use it while you're picking courses for the coming school year. Science. 10th graders will take chemistry. There's 3 levels, applied chemistry being the easiest, honors chemistry being the hardest. It's recommended that if you're taking honors chemistry, that you've either taken Algebra 2 already or you're enrolled in Algebra 2 at the same time. So honors chemistry has Algebra 2 in it, some concepts from Algebra 2. So it's recommended that you take Algebra 2 before you take honors chemistry, or you're in Algebra 2 at the same time. Otherwise, the 2 other levels of chemistry do not have as much Algebra 2 or don't have any Algebra 2, so you don't need to have that content in order to take them. Social studies, all 10th graders will take government. There's 3 options. Government being the easiest, AP Government or Advanced Placement Government being the hardest. Advanced Placement classes are for those students that want to start taking college level coursework in high school. So these courses, advanced placement courses or AP courses, are extremely challenging courses that require a student to study the course content through the entire semester and then take a national exam at the end, an AP exam at the end, to decide whether the student has retained enough knowledge to earn college credit for that course. So these are very rigorous courses taught by our high school teachers that prepare students for college and challenge them, though require a great deal of work outside of class. So if you are not willing to do extra homework at night, spend more time on this subject area, then we would not recommend AP. AP is a great option for those students that enjoy certain content areas and want to dedicate their own time outside of school to learning more and delve deeper into these content areas. World languages, we offer Spanish and French. If your student plans or you plan to go to a four-year college after high school, then it is recommended that you take at least 2 levels of a foreign language, so either Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 or French 1 and French 2. I will say, though, most colleges like to see more than that, so their bare minimum requirement is 2 levels, though they would like to see students taking the 3rd level of a language and even continuing on if they're able and they're doing well. I will say that taking AP Spanish or AP French stands out on a student's transcript in the college application process. So if you are doing well at foreign language, then we really recommend that you continue and really aim to get through that AP level if that's something that you're good at. Spanish or foreign language, French, Spanish, is another area that your student or you could double up. So you could take Spanish 2 first semester and take Spanish 3 second semester, or French 2 first semester, French 3 second semester. So this is another area that you could double up and get 2 levels done in 1 school year. Technology, if you have not completed your technology credit, please make sure you pick it for 10th grade. The state of Maryland recommends that all students finish their tech credit by 10th grade, so please make sure that if you didn't take it as a 9th grader, you get your tech credit in this year. Foundations of Technology is the class that most students take for their tech credit, though we do have 2 other options that are both embedded within Pathways. So Pathways is something that we talk about with students often and parents. It is a requirement of Queen Anne's County Public Schools that all students graduate within a pathway. Those are housed in the program of study, so please make sure you look in that document for more information on the pathways and the complete list. We also have paper copies of the pathways in the counseling office at the main building, so please send your student to see us if you'd like paper copies. Introduction to Engineering Design is within our Project Lead the Way program, so our students that are interested in engineering after high school typically are in this pathway, and IED counts for a tech credit. So a student could take it as part of the pathway, or they could just take it as a standalone course for their tech credit. Foundations of Computer Science is embedded within our Computer Science pathway. Our Computer Science pathway is very challenging. It includes 2 AP Computer Science courses. So our students that are interested in cybersecurity, interested in computer science and programming, often take the Foundations of Computer Science class and continue through the pathway. The catch with this pathway and program is that Foundations of Computer Science cannot count as part of your pathway and as your tech credit. So it can't double dip as 2 things. Introduction to Engineering is different. It can count for both your pathway and your tech credit, but Foundations of Computer Science cannot. So just keep that in mind. If you plan on completing the Computer Science pathway and using Foundations of Computer Science as your tech credit, you can't do that. You'd have to take one of these other 2 tech credits. Health and PE, every student must take Health and PE, and they're taken together. So if you haven't taken Health and PE, please select both Health and Physical Education. Band and chorus and year-long electives. So we offer band and chorus every year, and it's offered all year long during 3rd period. Remember, if you pick one, you must pick another. So these have to have a match. So if you want to take chorus, then you have to pick something else from this list in order to match it up with. You can't take just one year-long class. You must pick 2 classes from this list. If you don't want to take any classes year-long, that's fine as well. You don't have to. But keep in mind, sometimes it's nice to spread out the content in a certain area. So taking AP Psychology all year long spreads the homework out over 180 days instead of only 90 nights. But if you picked AP Psychology, you'd have to pick something to go with it. So maybe you take AP Psychology and Spanish 3 all year long. Just remember, if you pick one, you have to pick 2. Cosmetology, 10th graders can take cosmetology. Cosmetology is located at Queen Anne's, so certain CTE pathways are not housed at Conne Island High School because we don't have the facility to do so. So these students spend part of their day at Queen Anne's. We provide transportation, we take care of all the logistics, but they would spend the mornings over at Queen Anne's County High School. So if you're interested in cosmetology, hair, nails, you would select it here. This is a 3-year program, so you're committing to being in cosmetology for the next 3 school years. Semester electives. This is where the program of study and using the program of study is going to be so important, because you can really get lost in this list. It's 10 pages of electives if you're not careful. So I recommend that you start with the program of study and you start with looking at pathways. You pick a pathway that you're interested in, and then you find the correct classes for that pathway within this list. So an example of that would be, if you want to do the Teacher Academy program, so we have a pathway for students that want to go on to teaching or education, and in the program of study you would see the first 2 classes are Human Growth and Development and Teaching as a Profession. So then you would come into here and you would find those classes within the list. So there's Human Growth and Development, that's the first class. You would take that first semester, and then you would come in and find Teaching as a Profession. So that's right here. So use the program of study to find the classes within this list that you want. Do not just start scrolling through 10 pages of this list. You'll get lost and you'll end up picking something that you can't actually take. So please make sure that you start with the program of study and then come into this list. You could try 2 different pathways as a 10th grader. So sometimes we have a student that says, I want to try the teaching pathway. So they would start with the Human Growth and Development class. And then they say, I also want to try the Homeland Security pathway. So for our students that are interested in the military, interested in police, they would take Foundations of Homeland Security and Emergency Prep. So that's the first class in a different pathway, and that's okay. As a 10th grader, you could take 2 different classes and 2 different pathways to try them out and see which one you like better. It's possible you could complete both throughout high school, though not every student has the time and the space in their schedule to complete 2 pathways. 10th grade is a good time to try a different pathway and to see what you think, so that going into 11th grade, when you have to finalize your pathway and really commit to a specific pathway, you know what you're committing to. So you can see when I scroll back up that all the courses I've picked show up on my screen. That's helpful to make sure that you've picked the right courses and that you haven't picked too many courses. If you look at the bottom, you can see that every student is required to pick 8 credit hours, and I have selected 8 credit hours. So my course selection is correct. The last thing I have to do is select alternates. Alternates are super important and help the school counseling department in building your schedule. So let's say, for example, that I cannot get Human Growth and Development in this student's schedule. I can get everything else to fit into an 8-period schedule and everything else works, but I can't get Human Growth and Development to fit. I would then come down to the alternates and pick a different class that will fit where I have the spot that Human Growth and Development doesn't go. So it's important that your alternates are classes you'd actually be willing to take. Please don't pick classes for alternates that you don't want to take and have no interest in taking, because school counselors will use them to fill your schedule. So please make sure the alternates are classes that you want to take. Please also make sure that the alternates aren't classes that you picked already in your schedule. So don't pick Human Growth and Development as an elective and as an alternate. I do my best, and all counselors do their best to get your first choice classes in your schedule, but sometimes we have to use alternates. So please help us out and make sure that your alternates are different classes than classes you'd be willing to take. Once you have your 8 classes and your 2 alternates in your schedule, so let me pick 2 alternates. Fundamentals of Art I'd be willing to take, and I'd be willing to take Spanish 3. I picked Spanish 2 up at the top, but I would be willing to take Spanish 3 if something else didn't work in my schedule and I could get it in. So I now have my 8 courses and my 2 alternates, and now I could hit the OK or the Submit button located at the bottom of your screen. Once you hit submit, your courses have been entered and you're done. Though, for as long as the course request window is open, which is about a week and a half, students and parents can go back in and make adjustments. So you can hit submit, and then if you think about it and you realize you want to make a change, you can go back in and make a change. But you have to do it within the period that the window is open. So for the next week and a half, the window will be open and you'll be able to make adjustments. After that, we'll close the window and begin our individual meetings with students. So please remember, school counselors will review this one-on-one with every student within our school. So if you have questions about it, if your student isn't sure what to pick, you're not sure, please save all of those questions for our individual meetings, because we will meet with every student individually, review what they've taken so far, and review what they picked for next school year. Please, please, please wait for those meetings to ask the questions so that we can get through all of those and help each student be successful and pick the right courses for them. We look forward to working with your student through the course request process, and please remember that these courses are the courses that are going to appear in their schedule. Changes are difficult, so please put the time and the thought into this now so that your student and you are both happy with their schedule come August. Thanks, and we look forward to working with you.